Good afternoon. We're going to call the meeting to order, and we'll begin with the land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that the ground on which we live is the traditional territory of Caldwell First Nation, of the Three Fires Confederacy, and the original people of Point Pelee and Pelee Island, and its surrounding lands and waters, and that of the Huron-Wendat and Wyandot peoples. We recognize and respect the First Nations who are stewards of the land and waters of Turtle Island, and who have embraced this stewardship since time immemorial. We would also like to acknowledge the contributions of other nearby First Nation communities and all original people across Turtle Island. We can get an adoption of the agenda for October 27th, 2025. Moved by Marie, support by Anita. All in favor? Okay. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest? There being none, an adoption of our minutes for the LaSalle Police Service Board Committee and public meetings held September 4th and 15th. And LaSalle Police Service Board Diversity Plan Committee meetings held April 14th and June 2nd be adopted as presented. Moved by Anita, support by Marie. I'm just going to flip back and forth. All in favor? All right. Excited for item number 1, new LaSalle Police Service member. Chief?
It's my pleasure to introduce our newest constable to the board. Constable Jeff Bickerstaff was sworn in as a cadet on Monday, June the 2nd, 2025. He completed 13 weeks of basic constable training at the Ontario Police College on September 18th, 2025. On Wednesday, September 24th, Cadet Bickerstaff was sworn in as a constable 4th class and began his field training with a coach officer. Congratulations, Constable Bickerstaff. The deputy will say a few words.
Oh, you can stick around. It's fine. Like, no. He doesn't have to miss us. Because as Constable McInnes will tell you, I am a great bio reader. Jeff Bickerstaff joins the LaSalle Police Service after serving 11 years with the Canadian Armed Forces as a vehicle technician, most of which were spent in various operation units in Edmonton, Alberta. Born and raised in Windsor, Jeff has always been connected to the greater Windsor-Essex community through sports and extracurricular activities, and is excited to continue his calling of service close to home. Outside of his professional life, Jeff is an avid outdoorsman who enjoys hiking, fishing, and camping. He also has a passion for automotive work and spends much of his free time working on cars and tackling do-it-yourself home improvement projects. So I want to stop there, Jeff, and say thanks for pointing that out, because now the chief and I have a certain expectation from our spouses that we have to complete projects at home. So we'll discuss that later, okay? Jeff's been married for 6 years to his lovely wife, Kristen, and is a proud father of Scarlett and Callum. He credits his family's unwavering support and as a major influence in his decision to pursue a career in policing. Jeff extends his sincere gratitude to the LaSalle Police Service Board, Chief Pierce, Deputy Chief Woods, and the entire LaSalle Police Service for providing an opportunity to pursue his lifelong dream of becoming a police officer. He's honored to join the team of dedicated professionals as committed to upholding the values, integrity, service, and community as he begins his next chapter of his career. Thank you, Jeff. Come on up.
All right. So I'm not much for speeches. Mayor, Board, Chief Pierce, Deputy Chief Woods. Super grateful for this opportunity, and I want to thank everybody in LaSalle Police for welcoming me so openly. Everybody has been super helpful. If I have questions, as silly as they may be, they'll willing to answer them, and I look forward to a nice long career. Oh, and I got to thank my wife, family, my mom. I look forward to a nice long career with LaSalle.
Yeah. You okay doing that right now?
Please.
Okay, so we will do photos with family and everyone else in attendance if you could, and then we'll continue the meeting. Yeah, there we go. Everybody come up, like, as a group photo? Oh, yeah, you're not going anywhere yet. Congratulations, Jeff. Thank you for joining our team. We look forward to working with you. Okay, so we do have a recommendation, though, that the memorandum of Chief Pierce dated October 3rd, 2025 regarding LaSalle Police Service new member introduction be received, and that the LaSalle Police Service Board recognize the newest member of the LaSalle Police Service, Constable Jeffrey Bickerstaff. Moved by Anita, support by Marie, all in favor? Carries. We go into our reports and correspondence for action. Item 1, exempted record checks.
This is going to create additional work for our people in order to do that. It's a more robust check. There's more internal checks to do. And as a result, we require board approval to change the fee structure or create a fee structure for that. And then I believe, Mayor, that involves perhaps a bylaw change at council. And so the purpose of this memo is to indicate that we're now required to do this check, and we're estimating that a cost of $90. Currently, our checks are $55, but we anticipate, or as we've learned, it's about double the amount of work. And so we're starting at a $90 fee. We want to be fair to the people paying for the check, but also we want to be responsible to the taxpayer and ensure that we're not undercharging, if you will. So we're starting at $90, and then we'll reassess after a year and determine if that's an appropriate fee. So really, that's the purpose of this memorandum.
Thank you. Board members, any questions or comments? None? Recommendations that the memorandum from the Director of Corporate Services dated October 7th, 2025 regarding the exempted broad record checks BRC be received, and the LaSalle Police Service Board approves the $90 rate to perform BRC services. Marie and Anita, all in favor? Carries. Item 2 is a request for equitable provincial support for municipal police communities, and even though I've drafted the letter, maybe Chief, you could fill us in on why we feel the letter is required. Thank
you. I wasn't expecting that question. It's a complicated matter. We discussed it this morning at the OECP Zone 6 meeting. When it comes to funding, municipal police services are paying what I would easily describe as full freight. And when it comes to funding for the provincial police, municipalities are not. They're currently being subsidized, and the provincial government recently announced an 11% cap on budget increases for municipalities that have the OPP. So to be clear, this is not an issue with the OPP. It's an issue of how municipalities are billed for the cost of that policing service. So I do want to be clear that we have no issue with our provincial policing partners. They're wonderful, and it's not about them at all. It's about how municipalities are billed for their services, and it creates an unequal landscape. So when we see an increase capped at 11%, for municipal services, in St. Thomas, well, I better not get into their increases, but they're seeing double-digit increases that far exceed 11% in some municipal services. So while the taxpayer has to bear the brunt for those in those municipal services or in those municipalities, police services that are policed by the OPP are not going to pay the same amount. So there, in essence, it's creating a sort of a two-tiered level of billing. And so I think this is what the mayor wishes to address in her letter. I hope I've adequately explained that.
Yes, thank you. So as we are aware, last year, they were seeing quite large increases at the OPP, and so there was a $77 million one-time funding that was spread across all of the OPP detachments. And while it was supposed to be a one-time funding, and we were told that it was due to the fact that municipalities get grant funding that OPP doesn't, that's why we wouldn't see anything. After a little bit of research, it's proven that the OPP can also apply for the same grants that we can. But the difference being that this 77 million plus this capping of 11% isn't a grant. No one applies, they automatically get the benefit, where we apply and often get denied, and so we don't see that. And so there are other mayors who are putting these similar letters out there, and really we're not asking for anything different. We're not asking for anything above and beyond anywhere else. We're just asking for parity. And so that is what this letter is, and we're hoping that this gets the attention and maybe we can get a response and help us understand how we're supposed to explain this to our own residents as these things continue, because no one's saying that there's nothing coming in the next year that offers the same sort of reprieve to those municipalities who have OPP service. If everyone's okay with the letter and the wording, we'd like to forward that over to council. Comments? No? Go ahead.
Just a very quick one. Is there an opportunity for all impacted police services to have some joint representation? I think the letter is perfect. I love the letter, and I think it's totally warranted. Just wondering if there is some way to do a joint communication to get more attention from government.
This is on the OECP's radar in terms of communicating with the Solicitor General. I understand that communication has already occurred. I'm told that the OECP will continue to advocate on the issue. My request to the mayor was that perhaps it's time for the OAPSB and councils to also advocate. I think there might be better results, or at least better leverage applied if we take a united position on that. I did mention this morning that just through reading public documents that a number of municipalities, part of AMO, that have OPP police services are not happy with the 11% cap. Their position is that the policing's too expensive already, and that 11% is too high, and then it doesn't give them a long-term understanding of what the costs are going to be. So my position is that municipalities like LaSalle and others that have their own police services are already paying more than that. And so we think it's only fair that those municipalities also pay the appropriate cost of policing rather than having it, the term I'll use, subsidized or cost offset. So there's certainly two differing positions on that issue, but I think the OAPSB and councils should have their say.
So there's a recommendation that the draft letter regarding the request for equitable provincial support for municipally policed communities be received, and that the letter be sent to Town of LaSalle Council for Town Council support to send the letter to the Solicitor General. And I would also like to add that we also send it to any other municipally serviced municipally policed service municipalities. It's a lot. I don't think I said that right, but I think you know what I meant. And so moved by Anita, support by Marie, all in favor. Great. Consent agenda has 3 items. Is there anything to speak to directly, or are we okay to approve the 3? Yep. Marie and Anita, all in favor. Carries. Questions and statements by board members. Does anyone have anything? So the only one I do have is we have a meeting scheduled for November 17th. That is also the same day as our budget open house for the town of LaSalle. And trying to fit in our schedule with the new strong mayor's legislation for budgets. We have a very tight deadline, so we unfortunately had to schedule it on the 17th. If there's nothing pressing on that agenda, we're looking to see if you guys are okay with canceling the November meeting and meeting again in December. And you don't have anything pressing for that meeting either.
No, we're fine. We're good with December.
Okay, so we will cancel November meeting and reconvene in December. Unfortunately, it sounds like it's still going to be just the 3 of us, but that's okay. Look. All right, with that, no other questions or comments? Motion to adjourn. All in favor and carried. Have a good night.